Aloha everyone. So today I would like to discuss red raspberry leaf and some of the medicinal properties and some of the ways that you can use it. So the way that I like to use it is I get the organic dried leaf and then I make it into a tea and then I use it that way. And I like to add raw honey to taste so that my little ones like to consume it when they're sick. And you can also make it into popsicles so that they can have those when they're sick, or it can be iced. It doesn't have to be hot. So one of the most common ways that you'll hear red raspberry leaf being used is for women in pregnancy. And that's because it helps balance the hormone levels and it also helps tone and nourish the uterus to get it ready for giving birth. And it also gets the breast ready for producing milk. So it's really, really helpful for women to consume throughout the entire pregnancy. It's not an herb that will stimulate labor in any way. So you can drink it the entire time you are pregnant and even into the postpartum as well because it's so high in nutrients. And two of the vitamins that it's extremely high in, which a lot of pregnant women need, are iron and calcium. So a lot of women during their pregnancies get deficient in both of those nutrients, and then they can become anemic. They can end up getting varicose veins and hemorrhoids, which are extremely painful. So making sure that your body's getting enough nutrients is really important. So when I had all of my 4 kids, what I did is I made a quart of the red raspberry leaf tea and I drank that every single day. And I drank it the minute I found out I was pregnant, all the way through to the postpartum. Still, when I was breastfeeding, I was drinking that tea because I noticed how much better I felt and how much faster I healed after I gave birth to my babies. So that's one of my most favorite ways that I've used it, but I've also used it many other ways. Like I mentioned in the beginning, it's antiviral and antibacterial. So when my little ones would get a fever, I would make them the red raspberry leaf tea. And when they had fevers and when they were really little, they didn't tend to like it hot. So I would obviously make it iced for them. Or like I mentioned earlier, I made popsicles for them. So if they had a fever, I'd stick them in a hot bath with some herbs, and then I would give them, the red raspberry leaf tea popsicles as much as they wanted, or the iced tea they'd be drinking while they were in the tub, and that helps fight whatever, virus or bacteria, whatever they have going on in their body. And it's also really good for the bowels. So it's really good to use when they have diarrhea and different stomach upsets. It's a very calming herb and it's really good for the bowels. So that's another really good way that you can use it. And some of the more uncommon ways that you don't hear very often but are really effective. You can use it for gingivitis, for inflammation in the gums, any kind of irritation to the mucous membrane. You can use that. It's really helpful. And you can also use it for canker sores. That's another really good way to use the red raspberry leaf tea as a mouthwash. And another way that I've used it is when I had newborns that had conjunctivitis. And I would make it into the tea. And obviously, I would not add the raw honey to it at that time. You just want it to be the distilled water and the tea. And the reason why you want to make sure that you use distilled water is because since you're applying it to the eye, you want to make sure that it's H2O only and nothing else. You don't want to be putting any contaminants into the eye. So I would make it into a tea, and then I would get those empty dropper bottles and I would fill that up, and that would be the eye wash for the day. And you always want to make sure that you make a fresh batch each day, and then you just make sure I test it on my wrist, make sure it's not too hot, and then I use that on both sides when they're newborns. And you always want to treat both sides because it can switch so easily. So even if one eye is infected, you always want to make sure that you are treating both eyes. So anyway, I hope that this was helpful, and don't hesitate with any comments or questions below. And I will put the link below as well, drchristophersherbshop.com, where you can purchase the red raspberry leaf. So I hope you have a beautiful day, and thank you so much. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Mahalo.